Welcome to Web3 and Me, presented by FLOLiO. I'm your host, Jeremy Weber, and today I'm not joined by my regular co-host, Dan Bondalock. I have a different host today. So before we get going into it, please like and subscribe to our stream. Nothing we say today is financial advice. We don't know what we're talking about half the time, but we're going to pretend like we do. And if you're new to watching our show, appreciate you for hopping on today and checking it out. You can head over to FLOLiO.com. That's FLOLiO.com. Set up a free account on our site. We have a bunch of portfolio management tools that are all complimentary, providing trade floor valuations, browser extension for OpenSea, all sorts of good stuff. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on my co-host for the day. He is one of the co-founders of the Non-Refundable Network. He's a fellow Bored Ape holder. This is Nate. Nate, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on today, buddy.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me. Super happy to be here.
Absolutely. So let's jump into it. Give everyone real quick a rundown of NRN.
NRN. Okay. Well, we were talking before the show. Yeah. So NRN is short for Non-Refundable Network. It's basically just a media network that me and some friends started. And how that came to be, actually, so a group of us were in a project, which I may or may not name, but a bunch of us were in this project, which ended up turning kind of to be a slow rug. But the community was really thriving, and we kind of noticed that the community was all of us, maybe just like a handful of 20, 50 people. And yeah, we kind of got fed up, and we just said, screw it, let's make our own home base. We were toying with like an alpha group kind of thing, but it was never a paid service. We never did the alpha group thing, but that's how NRN got started. It was pretty much just a private group. It was invite only. But then we started making NFT content. We have like 5 different podcasts under our network now. So yeah, that's basically the gist of it. So
very cool. So how did you get into NFTs then? When did you get into it? Were you into crypto before that? Give me kind of a little backstory there.
Yeah, so the crypto story started in 2018, just like everybody else. I think I bought the top of Bitcoin, and I think I sold the bottom of Bitcoin. So yeah, so that was fun. But yeah, I think I sold off my bag towards the bottom because, typical emotional trader. I wasn't even a trader. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I just knew it was cool technology. But then fast forward to January of 21, came across a little thing called Top Shot, and that's how, I'm sure a lot of people got into the space that way. So yeah, it was NBA Top Shot, man, and that brought me to NFTs, and then eventually to Ethereum NFTs. So I know Top Shot gets a lot of grief nowadays, but the platform is still amazing. It's such a cool platform, but account values aside, right?
Yeah, for sure. Same situation. I read an article like January 15th of 2021 about Top Shot, and I jumped into it right away, and I went and bought a bunch of packs and talked to some buddies like, this is pretty cool. And that's how I got hooked up with FLOLiO too, is the guys who run the company. They're in like a shared portfolio that we like put together. So yeah, that got me into ETH NFTs. And one of the first ones I got was very lucky with being a Bored Ape. So today's actually a year ago today I bought my first ape. So that's
happy anniversary, man.
Pretty wild to look back and see how that is. It's simultaneously the fastest and longest year of my life. Like, it's so weird how NFTs just warp your brain.
It's wild, dude. So you're gonna sell tomorrow, right, for that long-term gain?
So no, I sold that one a while back. Like the one I have right now, I have to wait till August to get the long-term gains. But I've like traded in and out a little bit here and there. So
actually, so yeah, for the people that don't know, we're not only Ape Brothers, but we're holographic lens glasses brothers. And actually, that was my second ape too. I've only always had one ape at a time, but I did flip my first ape from like 0.3 to 0.7. And the only reason I sold it was to buy the holographic ape.
Okay, nice.
And I don't know the date I bought it, but it probably has been a year. But again, it's like, I don't think, selling doesn't really cross my mind a whole lot, especially with how blessed we've been throughout the year.
100%. And we'll talk about this more down the road in today's episode, but I'm not ready to give up on BAYC. Like a lot of the crypto Twitter people are saying you should be selling everything. Like I'm not going to listen to those guys, for the love of God.
Like, yeah, it is hard to filter out the noise. Yeah. And, like stuff goes up and down, it dips, but, we all know why we're here and, the greater reason. And, it's, either way is exciting. So there's a lot of us that aren't going to go anywhere regardless of price. So
we just got to keep building, right? That's the name of the game right now.
The hands.
You got to just keep building. Yeah. K Money, what a guy. So I'm curious, where do you see NRN going, long term? Like, what do you guys want to build with this?
Man, you obviously want to get, more and more viewers, more listeners. I guess, long-term goal, it would be nice for not only for us to be able to do it full time, but, there are 8 co-founders, there's 7 other of us. And if we could really scale this thing, that would be awesome to do it full time. Right. And I feel like there is a need for kind of like crypto content. Because there are a handful of podcasts and YouTube channels out there, but I don't know. There's a lot of room to grow, right? And there's a lot, there's different ways you can release content like that. So, 100%. And we're in our small little bubble. So like, it's weird. We're like in our little echo chambers. So, yeah, it'll be interesting when we can start to scale out a little bit. We'll see how NFTs do.
Yeah, and as things advance and people start to see more use cases for it, it's going to grow. It's nice to see that we're still adding like new users to OpenSea. Like you look at those charts and it's like, okay, we haven't totally flattened out there. Like people are still entering. So I 100% agree. There's going to be plenty of need for more content, and especially like from quality people who know what they're talking about and aren't trying to, scam or pump their own bags, because Lord knows there's enough of that going on out there.
Man, and you never know. But yeah, someone said like, like during the gold rush, do you want to be mining for gold or do you want to sell the shovels? So I don't know why that kind of always stuck with me. But yeah, NFTs go up and down, and the content needs to come out regardless, whether it's we're all celebrating together or commiserating over our bags disappearing. But
so with that being said, let's jump into let's talk about the market this week, because it's been like slow from a volume standpoint, but shit's just been weird. So we have to start talking about Goblintown from the jump. That is just, when did you first hear about Goblintown? What was your initial impression?
You mean the grumbles and all that?
Yeah.
Man, so I guess before we start talking about it, I haven't been buying a whole lot of NFTs the past 6 months anyway. Like we all, I don't know, like this shakeout we're seeing, it kind of was overdue, I feel like, but we have the world markets here affecting a lot of things. But yeah, they popped up on the timeline. I was like, oh, what are these things? I still think they look cool. But yeah,
people who know much more about art than I do are talking about like how detailed it is and how it's not like a thrown together kind of hack job. Like it was not a lot of thought put into these. Right. No. So that was my first thought too.
Yeah, the whole no roadmap, no communication, no nothing, the whole mysterious, it is kind of cool. It maybe can get dangerous in the future, but the moral of the story is, memes run the internet. Meme culture is here to stay. So, if it doesn't matter what the art is, if a million people want to go buy the same thing, the price will probably go up. That's kind of like a Ponzi mechanic kind of thing, but I guess what really isn't.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I saw them last Saturday when they came out for free, and I was just like, I had a hard time even looking at them. Like, these are really friggin' ugly.
So I think I saw them when they were maybe 0.08, 0.1. And it's weird. We do this mental thing like, oh, I missed the boat. Can't buy it, and
I saw them at around that same price as well, and I just couldn't pull the trigger on it.
But man, there's so much in the space. You can't keep your eye on everything. And if you were to take shots at every single thing you saw, it wouldn't matter how many Goblintowns you had. So
100%. This is one of those times where I feel like I'm not a big enough degenerate, because like you, over the last, since the beginning of the year, I've been beating the drum for like consolidating and holding some cash because we're going to see some pain And that is held true. And so I was just sitting on the sidelines like, nope, this is an undoxed team with no background. We've seen how this plays out. I'm not going to do it. I'm trying to be rational here. And then that just blows up in my face.
Right. I know. Yeah. You try to be responsible and, but yeah, like you just said, we're all degens, right? So,
right.
And you got to take risks to make money, but, you know, yeah. So
Well,
just tap into that degen.
And then I heard like these early, like early, it's only been a freaking week. I've heard like the people talking like, oh, this is a Yuga project because the word goblin showed up on the pitch deck. I'm like, this is not true at all. People are just trying to pump their bags and trying to get like quick exit liquidity. I'm staying away from this. Like that kind of like drove me even further away from it.
Right.
Which has been frustrating. And now the floor ripped past 2 yesterday. It's pulled back now. We've had those Twitter spaces where people are making goblin noises. And then I love how people are like, oh, well, the apes did that, which they totally did. Like there were the early days on like Clubhouse before Twitter spaces were even a thing. And then when Twitter spaces started, like everyone making ape noises for an hour, which was ridiculous. And I was like, it's early BAYC vibes. And I'm like, I feel like the sheriff and super troopers, like I'm going to pistol whip the next person who says early BAYC vibes, for the love of God.
Shenanigans. Yep.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. But I mean, everyone is always looking for the next apes, right? Or next punks, whatever you want to say it is. They're when's the next 1000X? So, and that's, the dark side of this space, not really dark side, but you know what I mean? It's a lot of us are here for the tech. I mean, we are here for the money too. We should at least admit that, but hopefully it's not the only thing driving us.
Yeah. The money is what brought me in, but seeing the potential to, make a positive change and it sounds corny, but like I've made a lot of friends along the way. Like it's been really cool to meet people. And that's what I think the crypto Twitter crowd or the people who don't get NFTs don't really understand is like, you and I met because of BAYC and we've shot this shit and now we're doing a show together. And like the need for community and for like a common interest that like brings people together, especially coming out of COVID, was like super important. And I think that that's not going to be something that changes anytime soon. Like we're not going to just like backtrack and completely avoid technology altogether. So I think there's a lot to be said there.
That's so true about the community aspect of crypto Twitter too. Cause yeah, they're buying and selling like altcoins and shit. And it's like,
crypto Twitter feels like the majority of them are just trying to get over on each other. Whereas like, don't get me wrong, that happens in the NFT community, but not to the same extent.
Right. Yeah. It's a little different for sure. Yeah, I totally agree.
So have there been any other projects that have caught your eye this week? Like we've had Boki, we've had the AI Moonbirds and the DMCAing, and then them changing their name, which, I think is a good thing. Like I was a little outspoken at first, like that was kind of shitty on Proof's part, but then they worked something out. So I think, credit where credit is due there.
Yeah, but then they got the Kevin Rose bump, right? They got the nice tweet with the OpenSea link. So it's like, and here's another one. So I saw the Moonbirds or the AI, what are they called now? The Nightbirds. And I love that AI art style, like the surreal apes. I always love those. And I was like, oh man, these look fucking awesome. And of course I didn't buy one. This was like at 0.1 and now they're like at 0.4. I think they shot up to maybe 0.6. But again, I also don't have a Moonbird. And it's weird. The Moonbird art has like grown on me, and I don't know if that has anything to do with floor price. Like if the floor went to 1 ETH, would you still like the art as much?
Yeah, right.
But I guess the more that I see them, like just some of the traits, I don't know, they look super cool, and they look like good profile pictures. And that's not even talking about the team behind them. So
yeah, I will say I'm happy that they got rid of what's his name right off the jump, because I feel like he was dragging the team down. But I don't own one either. I totally missed it. Like I was on there the morning of the drop. Like I didn't win a raffle spot, but I saw them at like 7 or 8, and I just couldn't pull the trigger. And then once again, just living with that regret, man.
Yeah, I know, man. Same here. I did get in the raffle too, though. So at least you got in the raffle, right? So,
yep. But yeah, well, the AI ones are really cool. That feels like another potential, like just easy rug opportunity. Like I think it already happened yesterday with like an AI Bored Ape derivative that just
saw
like that. Like which
I saw an ape AI derivative, and I thought it was the surreal apes, which I guess it was not. Shout out to the surreal apes though, because those are sweet, and that's not a rug project.
Okay, I haven't checked that one out. I'll have to pull that up.
Actually, if you do, speaking of, they're doing surreal codas tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I think the surreal apes, you had to have an ape, you know, to make you. It was like you could buy their serum type thing and then add it to your ape, I think. So, but it was super hard to even get a spot unless you paid up for it. So, I don't have one, but
Okay,
they're super cool. But yeah, man,
nice.
the AI birds, they look super cool. I would totally rock one. But yeah, I don't
Yeah,
have
they're
one.
pretty awesome. So speaking of codas, what are your thoughts? How are you feeling about other side? The announcement that the first journey is going to be, July 16th is going to be when it starts. Probably gonna be some previews at NFT NYC. I saw a lot of people like super stressed out about it. I'm just kind of chilling. Like, I'm not too concerned at the moment. Where are you at with it?
I'm not concerned either. I'm super excited. When I first saw that date, like the knee-jerk reaction was like, "Oh shit, that's gonna be in forever, man. Like that's never gonna come." And then you realize, like, fuck, it's almost June. NFT NYC is in a few weeks, which that even sounds crazy to even say out
Yeah.
loud. So yeah, before you know it, it'll be here. And now, like, what, ApeCoin's at $6, so it's been on a nice little downtrend. But you know, I mean, that's the whole broader market. And you know, the utility might be, you know, might not have utility till this thing comes out. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
man, I'm super excited. I'm just ready to run around, you know, talk to some ape friends, talk to some other friends, see what we can build, see what's all these resources are about, you know. So I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm pretty stoked too. Like, it looks like a really, the initial preview, it was 30 seconds of, Curtis the monkey running around. It looked cool.
It was
Like,
enough. It was enough to see the whole
people were
vibe,
like
though.
talking shit. I'm like, has any other NFT created a game that looks anywhere good as this? No, it hasn't. So like, why are you hating on them after
And
it's
if
been like, how long have they been building this? Like 6 months?
Well, that's the thing. If anyone else were to build a game like that, it would take years and
Yeah.
a shitload of money. So
And it'll be years until it's probably at its like full capacity. Like, it's not realistic to think that like in 1 year they can get this up to, where they see it being 10 years from now, but they're making progress, and they're slowly going to roll it out, and we're going to be the people who get to test it and get rewarded for that, which I think is really cool.
yeah, I'm super hype. I'm excited for the gamification part, like to see, because we all know the Yuga guys were like, you know, what, Warcraft guys,
Yeah,
or
big
and
World of Warcraft. I think didn't Gargamel like write a book about World of Warcraft?
I'm not sure. It sounds about right, but you know, so we got the right people making the game, and you know, they put so much thought into their stuff. Yeah, man, I'm really excited. And you know, shout out to our holographic lens glasses. I think those are gonna look so dope in the metaverse. Like, because you know, think about, there's gonna be some traits that look a lot cooler in there. You know, maybe like a king's crown or something. Maybe like the
Yeah.
gold grills. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get those 3D models, before it goes live, or like the day it goes live, so we can, play around with those. I wouldn't be shocked if everyone at first has to use the same avatar just to make it easier, and they kind of like slowly progress into letting everyone have their own individual one. Like, that wouldn't be too surprising, but it being an open one, and them, allowing Cool Cast and World of Women and all these other places to create their own 3D avatars, I think is pretty awesome moving forward.
Yeah, that is the cool part, the inclusive part. You know, should be, you know, any profile picture you got, man, come hang out, come hang in the metaverse, man.
Yeah, agreed. I think people giving, like, there's been so much Yuga hate lately, just all around, which, I get it. Like, it's like hating on the Yankees when they're winning the World Series, or, the Lakers when they're winning the NBA Finals. But I do honestly believe that the Yuga team wants to like make this inclusive and wants to be a positive for Web3 and NFTs. So I think that's the vibe I've gotten from every interaction I've had with the founders since day one.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it is kind of crazy because, you know, the apes they're not cheap, right?
No.
But hopefully that's not the barrier to entry. Hopefully you can use any profile picture. I mean, the other side, you know, land has came down in price. So, but
And
yeah,
even
man, it's
still,
exciting.
not everyone can afford that, which is totally understandable. I really do hope it's one of those things where like anyone can just sign up and use a generic avatar and get in and have some fun with it. And because I think, we've talked on our show before that like the promise of a game really doesn't mean anything at this point. Like, we've seen so many projects promise a game and nothing come from it. And when some games do come out, they're not fun. And like the only way to bridge the gap between, you know, because gamers for the most part seem to hate NFTs. And so like to bridge that gap, you really need to make a game that has a low barrier of entry, isn't expensive, and is fun as shit. Like that's really seems to be what you have to do.
Yeah, that's the thing, is it has to be fun, right? Like, because you could build out this game, and if it's not fun, it's like I'll play for 5 minutes and put it down. I don't care if you're giving me, you know, a couple tokens an hour. But funny thing about the gamers and NFTs, I heard this recently and it makes so much sense. Do you know why all the gamers hate NFTs?
No, go ahead and let it rip.
Because all the ETH miners stealing all the GPUs, so they have.
Okay.
I think that's
so everything's more expensive because like
they can't build their PCs because we're too busy trying to mine ETH over here.
It makes sense. Like I remember at the beginning of like COVID lockdowns, PS5 was coming out and like you couldn't get your hands on a PS5 because they couldn't get chips to make them because everyone was mining crypto and all that. So I guess that does make sense why they would hate us for sure.
But it's funny because all of us that know NFTs, it's like it's only a matter of time before like Sony puts a hardware wallet part of their interface, because all the in-game items they should just be NFTs. I mean, like
100%.
That might be the road to worldwide adoption is just in-game items and have it in a way to where the user doesn't even know they're buying an NFT. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and having a marketplace where you can buy and sell, like you can upgrade your weapons. Like I've thought about this a lot. I'm a huge Legend of Zelda fan. Like I loved Breath of the Wild. I don't know if you ever play Zelda, but it's this awesome.
I had the gold cartridge for NES.
There we go. So, but like a Zelda game where everything's an NFT, you can go out and you can upgrade your weapons, your shields, your armor, all that stuff, and like have a marketplace where if you're done playing the game, you can turn around and sell your equipment and make some money out of it. Like I think that would be a really cool use case for it that gamers could very easily get behind. Like you play your game, you buy the game, you get started off with the lowest level of stuff, and then you can forge and upgrade as you go. And if you want to make a little money while you're playing, you can.
Well, yeah. See, but the game makers, they want to keep all those profits, right? They don't want you making money. They also want you to buy the new game that comes out the following year, right?
Yeah, and they'll still do that, but it could be something too where like they have, like the Nintendo, shop that they have online. You can just have a marketplace through there. They get a cut of every transaction, just like OpenSea kind of a situation. Like I could totally see that working out.
Well, yeah, just do like Meta. 47% royalty fee. That's all I got to do.
Well, we've seen how well that's going for them. How many billions of dollars have they already lost?
Man, it's crazy. So
I'm going to bring this up. I do think that would be really cool. That would be. I have to imagine that would only be possible if it's like the same game studio making the games, like making the same shooting game or RPG or whatever it may be. I have a hard time seeing like different studios and Xbox compatibility with Sony, with compatibility with Nintendo, kind of a situation.
Yeah, unless they built something. I mean, I'm not like a coder or anything, but like some type of generic platform maybe that could integrate whether you're wherever these NFTs or items came from. I'm sure they could. Some people smarter than us could probably figure it out.
Well, there are plenty of people smarter than us that could figure that out, or at least smarter than me. I can only speak for myself, but yeah, there is so much potential there. And are there any other areas like NFT Web3 world that you see like some glaring opportunities in?
Man, the ones we just talked about, the in-game items. I can't remember who it is, but they are working on like a video game wallet to where, like even if you didn't have a crypto wallet, when you sign up for the game, like it'll make it'll make a wallet for you. But again, then we have like seed phrases and all that stuff. So I don't know how the logistics would work, but yeah, I mean, I think the gaming world is where we're gonna fully adopt.
Yeah, I agree. It's such a tough barrier to entry right now with like security and managing all these things. Like the decentralization maxis, I think it's going to come to a tipping point where like we either have to accept a little bit more centralization to get mass adoption, or we have to be content with the fact that we're not going to get mass adoption at all.
Right. Yeah, that is true. So,
like most of the people, like God forbid, my parents, like I bought my parents their first NFT. And they're like, how do we get it? I'm like, oh, I got to set up a MetaMask. And like, I just see their eyes glaze over. I'm just like, fuck, what did I just do?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And then I checked the price today. Like, hey, what'd you do here, son?
But even people, like my age who don't understand it, like they have a hard time wrapping their head around. Like, so I need this phrase. I need to go to this site. I need to move this to here. I'm just like,
Not even that.
yeah.
My dad is still hung up on I can't hold it. And it's just like that doesn't mean shit. Like, but he'll buy a Cubs ticket. I always say this, Cubs tickets, Chicago Cubs, you can't even print one out if you wanted to. It's completely digital. It's like it's halfway to an NFT right there, except the fact that you can't transfer or sell it as easily. So
yeah, there's a middleman. If you want to transfer or sell it, you got to go through you got to pay 3 or 4 different people to transfer that. But no, it's totally true. That sports are another area where I see opportunity for a lot of Web3 adoption and a lot of, opportunity for experiences and create a hell of a lot of value for NFT holders.
Speaking of sports, this just randomly hit my brain yesterday. Like, imagine somebody license out their ape to be like a mascot of a team, or you have like the Chicago Apes or something.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome. Well, did you see when like LaMelo Ball had a gutter cat on his sneakers for like one of the playoff games or one of the last games of the season? Like,
yep, there's been a few different gutter shoes. Malik Monk, there's a couple other ones.
Yep, Tyrese Halliburton put his ape on his shoes as well.
I want mascot, man. I want somebody running around in a suit, tossing T-shirts up at the crowd,
throwing like bananas at people. That'd be great.
Yeah, I want the Chicago Apes, not the Chicago Bulls. Although I am a Bulls fan,
so with apes, where are you at with the remaining roadmap? Like, what are you looking forward to? Because that's one of the things people are like, oh, apes are dead because Ape Coin is out and Other Side Land is out, and so there's nothing that's going to drive value to them ever again. I'm just like, that's just a short-sighted view of everything.
Like, everyone's attention spans are so short right now, and like myself included. Like, I have ADD, all that shit, and it's like an unfortunate part of the space. I mean, just life. people they see this shiny new thing, they get excited, then they get bored of it. So
yeah,
you got to constantly, but also, is that sustainable? Like, to just keep making announcements to keep your thing afloat type thing? So
no, that's why like I wasn't stressing when Yuga didn't immediately make an announcement on Other Side. It's like, give them some time. Like, I come from the more traditional finance world before I got into crypto, so like I'm used to making investments and just like sitting on them for months, years, whatever.
And what's funny is those are usually your best investments, right? Where you buy something, 100%. Sit on your hands. You know what they say? What time in the market always beats timing the market. So and all my best investments were just buy them and just sit on them. Doesn't always work, but yeah, when you try to trade, buy the tops, the bottoms, it's real easy to get lost in that.
For sure. So yeah, and what else on the roadmap is catching your eye, for the remainder of this year, the entirety of the thing? I mean, and we can kind of, that leak pitch deck had a bit of a timeline for what's to come. So any thoughts there?
Man, in a couple of weeks we got Ape Fest, so that's like the biggest thing on the next docket. And then I guess refresh my memory. Besides Other Side, we got Ape Fest.
There's, if you remember, there was like the trial of Jimmy the Monkey, and like the Mecha Dogs, and Mecha Apes. I think
also that's the treasure hunt,
which I think that could be part of the initial Other Side launch, because Animoca put out a tweet, a few weeks back that had the Bored Ape roadmap, and it blurred out everything except for the treasure hunt, and then it had like Animoca on there. So I think that they're involved in that in some way as well.
And maybe that's why they had us KYC.
Well, the KYC they already said was for the land sale. Yeah,
but for what reason?
I think just from a security standpoint, because like Yuga was making so much damn money out of it, and Animoca is like their partners in this and was also making a ton of money from it. So that's one of my concerns with Other Side, quite honestly, is I think Animoca has a lot of control over that, and it's not as big of a Yuga project. And I trust the Yuga team far more than I trust the Animoca team. Yeah, but it's like a trade-off, right? Like we kind of need the VCs and the suits a little bit. We each kind of scratch our own backs, kind of thing, or each other's backs. So, and like you said, with the balance of regulation and decentralization, we got to find a balance or pick a side, right? So 100%.
I'm usually a balanced guy, but yeah. So
Yeah, so there's I think the Mecha Dogs and Mecha Apes. That's probably the only other like remaining airdrop for the year, or like
I don't. I guess we don't know about the Mecha Dogs, but it would be cool if they came out and said, "Hey, all those remaining serums, you can now use them on your dogs, and you're going to need these mech dogs to team up with your ape to fight a mutant." I don't know. This can go so many ways, and
yeah,
they're just so good at that. What is it? The lore, just
yeah,
the whole
creating
story.
that story to it, and like one of the reasons I am confident about Other Side, if Yuga is involved, is like the games they have put out so far, and this was one of the things that I kept going back to, was like the treasure hunt. I don't know if you played it very much. It was hard as hell, but it was a lot of fun.
The mini game?
No, remember the treasure hunt that happened last like October, where they gave
I didn't participate. I don't think.
Okay, so that was a ton of fun. Like it was super complex, but it was once again like incredibly detailed. That's one thing that I've always appreciated about you guys, like their attention to detail on pretty much everything. But then like even the mobile game competition was a fun game. Like I think a week was too long, but
yeah, I wasn't that good at the game, and I put it down kind of early. The writing was on the wall. I'm like, I'm not going to climb the leaderboards here and win this bong or anything. So I'm not going to get the mutant mobile.
The amount of Adderall, those people must have been on to stay awake for 7 days straight.
Or just pay some kids, pay some gamers. I know there was like people hiring professional gaming teams and stuff. Maybe Tropo Farmer, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, so I think there's still quite a bit to look forward to for Ape Fest. I know that's like every night. It's 5 to 10 p.m., which is great for an old guy like me. If I'm not gonna be able to make it this year, but if I was, that'd be the perfect time because my happy ass is exhausted by 10 p.m. But do you think we're gonna see any of the celebrity apes show up and perform? Like we getting a Snoop Dogg performance at this thing?
Man, I think we're definitely in for some treats. I mean, last year they had Lil Baby, so I mean they had more than Lil Baby, but yeah, dude, the sky's the limit for Ape Fest. I mean, I'm not gonna get. I try to temper my expectations, but yeah, there's no way that it's not going to be a blast. So,
they've put a lot of time into planning this. They have so many connections now. Like
you said, just ape holders that are already artists, not even just hired. Lil Baby was an early adopter to apes and mutants. So, but yeah, man, it's exciting. But like you said, yeah, I'm old too, and I get tired late. But man, last time I was in New York, man, when you get in these like groups of people and just you share the energy, man, it's invigorating, man. It recharges you.
It was funny. I saw people posting their pictures, like getting to New York and all excited. And then like they posted their pictures leaving and everyone just looked like a zombie.
Oh
just
yeah.
Dead on the inside. Like I need to sleep for 72 straight hours.
That was me after South by Southwest. And that was only like a 3-day weekend.
Okay.
And then for NFT NYC, I actually have tickets to the conference this year. So it's going to be 5 long days or 4, whatever it is, because it's going to be, talks during the day and then party from 5 to 10. And then I'm sure there'll be after parties.
So were you down at South by Southwest for like NRN business?
Yeah, we were there. Yeah, we were there for the Doodles event. And we created some content there. And yeah, that was super awesome, man. But yeah, we went there mainly for Doodles. Okay,
that was pretty cool. Like, did you talk to many people there who weren't Doodles holders, didn't really know much about NFTs? Like, what was their impression, first time hearing about this stuff?
Yeah, so also the other event that was killer at South by was the Fluff World event. Like, it blew us away, man. It made us want to just go buy a bunch of fluff bears or whatever. We just wanted in the ecosystem. But yeah, the Doodles event was cool because I don't know if you remember the pictures, but they had like a big warehouse kind of thing, and they had the doodles going across the side of the building, and all the colors and everything. There was a line outside for non-holders, of course. If you're a holder, you got VIP status. But there were so many people there that didn't know what the fuck anything was going on. They're like that they would even get inside the activation, and they'd have their kids, and their kids would be smiling ear to ear. And the parents didn't know what the fuck was going on, but they're like, I don't know what this is, but it's cool. Everyone's nice, all that stuff. So it was interesting to be mixing in the non-NFT crowd with the NFT crowd. But yeah, the Doodles event itself was it was magical, man. It was really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, you can't underestimate the power of like family friendly entertainment. Like that is huge.
And we all know, like, anytime a kid learns about NFTs, they're just like, it's second nature. Like,
yeah.
So this next generation, like, it really will be second nature to them. And yeah, man, the kids either, they either got it instantly, or it was like there was nothing else to get. They just were having fun. They just wanted to be a part of it, whatever it was. So yeah, man, it was really cool.
That's awesome. I'm noticing the smiles hoodie. Did you go to their party down there?
Man, I didn't. I think it was, so South by was 2 weeks long, and we were only there for like 4 or 5 days. So
Okay.
we missed the Smiles party. But yeah,
Gosh,
I would have totally been there.
I'm a big Smiles fan. We've had Wahid on the show before.
Oh, nice.
Creator of Smiles. He's just an awesome guy to talk to. You guys should totally get him on your show at some point. He's great.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely on the list. Yeah, man. I'm a big fan of the whole project, the art, him. So
for sure. So is that one of the projects you're still holding? I know you said that, last 6 months you've trimmed a lot of stuff. Where are you kind of concentrating your focus right now with your portfolio?
So, like, for the last year, I mean, my motto, it's like almost been a joke, but I mean, I've always just said stack blue chips and take profits. It's always easier said than done. And even, a handful of blue chips have came down in price anyway, and ETH is coming down. I mean, it's just a shit show everywhere. But yeah, so I obviously have an Ape set, an M1. I did get lucky and pull an M2 serum. Nice. I sold it a day later and instantly bought an M1 serum. Took my little dividend, put some money in the bank, so that was nice. And then so I don't know if you remember when serums dropped, they like kind of cratered, and then they've just been slowly climbing ever since. So I didn't sell the bottom, but I sold and they kept going down. I'm like, all right, cool. And then of course you see the prices now, but then if you were to hold on to serum, you wouldn't have got the land, you wouldn't have got ApeCoin drop. There's a lot of stuff people don't really think about.
Yeah, I timed it. I just got lucky, but I bought two because I own 50% of a joint portfolio that has 2 full sets of Ape, M1, M2, and Dog. And so we picked up 2 M2 serums for a total of like 12 ETH back in November before like they ripped. And I'm just like, thank God we did that. Like I kind of wish we hadn't used them, because could have flipped those things for like 50 or 60, but I like having the full set. The M2s I think are cool and undervalued. I think they'll have their day at some point.
They will. And just like we talked about Yuga and their whole gamification, like these M2s don't exist for no reason. Like
100%.
They're like, and I knew that, but at some point, you do have to take profits, and where you can comfortably sleep at night and all that stuff. So and even like when I got into NFTs, I didn't start with a whole lot of money. I just kind of got lucky, but kind of lost my train of thought there. But
no, it's all good. So quick question I want to bring up. Who are you looking forward to seeing at the conference at NFT NYC? Bring up Kenz's question here.
Honestly, it's gonna be all of you guys. It's all of these people I've been talking to for the past year. All my NFT family, my Ape family. That's who I'm most excited. Now, as far as who's like speaking, like, I'm not gonna lie, I went through the list of names speaking, and I can only pick out a handful of people that I even recognize. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it because, I like learning new stuff and meeting new people. And even though we've been in this space for a year and a half, you don't know everything, and there's still always new shit coming out. So I'm excited for that aspect. So I know a lot of people are like, oh, the speakers are boring, and which it can be, but
especially if it's at 9 a.m. and you were up till 2 a.m. and you're hungover as shit. Like, then you definitely don't want to hear someone droll on about smart contracts and stuff like that. But
and then you don't know if what type of audience they're speaking to. Are they speaking to a bunch of newbies, which is fine, or so. I didn't go last year, so I'm excited to go check it out.
Awesome. I forgot to ask your fits for the conference. Your Kanye Crocs, We had someone on Twitter ask about that today. What do you plan on rocking for the conference?
Yeah, the old foam runners. People either love them or hate them. So actually, I do need to figure out some fits for the week. I almost didn't wear my Smiles hoodie today, but I figured I'd bust it out. And also, like, I don't know if I want to be draped in NFT merch along with a bunch of other people draped in NFT merch. Like,
I feel like it's a bit much at that point. Like everyone, like last year, everyone was wearing the same white BAYC hoodie they got from the pop up. Like, I don't know. I think you'll stand out more if you're not wearing NFT merch. And I mean, it's gonna be the middle of summer in New York. You're not gonna wear a hoodie anyways.
That's another thing, but we never know what the weather is gonna do. But yeah, I'll probably just bring my dunks, my off-white dunks. Maybe
so you're a
the
sneaker
foam
guy
runners.
too, then.
Yeah, actually, what's funny is a lot. It's funny. Top Shot got people to NFTs, and then sneaker flippers came over to NFTs. Because hey, we'll just flip NFTs now, which that might be part of the problem. But
I have a decent sneaker collection. I wasn't like a reseller by any stretch of the imagination. I did like a little bit if I would like hit some raffles on sneakers or some other sites. But yeah, that has been interesting to see. Like a lot of sneaker collectors. I used to play poker for a living. A lot of poker players got into.
It's funny how we all have these same
right, just like
same path. Yep. Like we
these same degenerate tendencies of like, I don't really like this whole idea of like working a desk job kind of a thing. Like that's not my jam. So I'll try to make money hustling.
Well, it's funny that Yuga hit it on the head with the degens only. Like it's just perfect.
Seeing Steph Curry wearing that hoodie, I was like, my guy Steph. That's awesome.
He was an early adopter too, man. Shout out to Steph. He actually was in the Discord. I don't think he spent much time in there, but he posted a selfie in there one time.
Yep, that was so I remember very vividly. That was the day that Mutants dropped. It was like the night before, like midnight. And then he was actually, I remember he was in a bunch of like Twitter spaces that day too, like trying to learn about it.
Yeah, I remember because I went to sleep early. Woke up to a bunch of Steph stuff. And actually
and then and the floor just fucking ripping.
Oh yeah. And then it's funny that this in the same old person fashion, I went to sleep early that fateful Saturday night where the apes minted out. I was just like, it's been a long day. I'm going to disconnect and I'm just going to close Twitter. And yeah, I woke up Sunday morning, bunch of apes on my timeline. I was like, what the fuck?
Well, that's why I'm not panicking right now is like, we saw the huge floor dip after Mutants for, both apes, mutants, dogs, all of it, which is understandable. And so like, I'm not saying it's the exact same situation, but there's plenty of parallels to it to where, there was a huge pullback after the Mutants dropped. And so I'm not like shocked by this pullback at all. I'm not stressing about it because I still believe that the Yuga team is going to deliver. So like people who, are in chats and who are freaking out, I'm like, listen, if your like life is being negatively affected by this, I totally understand if you want to sell. You got to do what's right for you. Well, but if you can withstand some turbulence, like it's going to be okay.
And usually when you withstand that turbulence, it usually pays off, or this is the shakeout time. This is going to get rid of all the weak hands. But on the flip of that, like I don't know about you, but I got my current ape under 1 ETH. So like it doesn't feel good when you see the floor plummet, but I mean we're not here for floor prices. And year over year, if we're talking just money, we're still doing pretty good. But again, like you said, man, it is silly and funny that we always say it's oh man, at least we have the friendships. But man, it's these connections we have. The network is so powerful. I mean, that's partly why NRN, is doing its thing. It's just people, man.
Yeah, that's 100% true. Yeah, I did not get my current one under half, but I've like traded up and sold enough apes and mutants and dogs to where at this point I've like covered all my cost basis and I'm profitable. So I'm like, whatever happens from here on out is kind of gravy. I believe in it. I'll go down with this ship because for the time being, I still trust that they're going to do the right thing. So not stressing there. I think this is an important time to like have your head on straight, and we're seeing who's over leveraged and over invested and who doesn't have the long-term view here. And, whatever people's prerogative is, that's great for them. But, there's still a lot to come, not just from BAYC, but from a lot of people.
Well, and that's the other thing, man. Like, if I bought into the ecosystem at 150 ETH, I'd probably be sweating right now too, right? Like, everyone's situation's different, so everyone hops on the train at different times. So just
it does bum me out when I see people like who bought in for 150 dumping for 90, and I'm just like, oh, man, just hold on a little bit longer. Like, it'll come back to some point where you're going to get your money's worth.
Yeah, but like you said, they were over leveraged to begin with. So,
yep, 100%. All right, man. Anything else that caught your eye in the market this week you want to chat about?
We talked to AInightbirds, of course, the goblins. I feel like there was another one.
Boki dropped. That was one that got a little bit of hype.
That's one I missed, but a couple NRN people got that.
I view that one. I put this out the other day. I view that one, the look of it, as like a Kirkland brand Doodles. Like, it's like the generic, like the off-brand of Doodles based on some of that art there. Like, they're trying to do the pastel thing.
Yeah, it looked like a little Starcatchery too, a little bit.
Well, I want to say I heard that one of the guys from Starcatchers is involved in that,
okay.
So that would make sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and there doesn't really seem like there's a whole lot on the horizon right now either.
Well, it's like there is, but people are so scared right now to buy anything, man. It's crazy. It's like we're gonna have, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see because we have like super overhyped projects and then products that probably don't get enough love. Also, I saw a tweet today like there's products that were planning a release, around now, and they were planning when ETH was 2,500 or ETH was 3,000, and now ETH is 1,730. So what are they? Do they raise mint prices? So that definitely throws a wrench into some founders' hands, I'm sure.
It also throws the 1 ETH equals 1 ETH thing out the window too. Like, especially if mass adoption is going to come, that's not going to be the case. Like, 1 ETH is going to be, valued at what it actually is for these for pricing of NFTs.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. I mean, as much as I hate to admit it, a lot of this shit is overpriced. It kind of hurt even just saying that, but even if our apes are overpriced, I don't know. It is what it is. So, and yeah. Another thing is just like at least I get so tied to this digital identity thing. Like there probably will be a time one day where I might sell my ape, and it's I don't know, man. It's weird. Like, I feel like that ape is me now. Like, I can't sell it.
And that's an area too where I think that's very common. And another reason why the crypto Twitter people don't get it is like there is an emotional attachment to some of these NFTs, good, bad, or indifferent. That if you can't wrap your head around that, that's fine, but you're not going to fully understand the value of some of these things. Not that justifies it being worth $250,000,
right?
But that does play a part in people's decision-making process, and you can't dismiss that just because you don't get it.
Yep, and that combined with the community, is why all that combined with the community and then combined with us being degens is why NFTs probably will still be okay. Because I mean, look at the market, and then you get something like goblins come out, and everyone just fucking goes nuts, because they're for better or for worse, they want that next play.
Yeah, and there's still plenty of liquidity out there. People just don't want to deploy it right now.
Yeah, I mean, myself, I'm mostly stables right now. I mean, that was thanks to ApeCoin. I'd probably feel a little different if it wasn't for ApeCoin. So yeah, I'm like, what, 90% stables right now. And then I still have my blue chip NFT bag, which is pretty much just apes, a couple gutter. I got a dead fella.
I have a gutter set myself. I think they're going to have I think they're in store for a big Q3. It's already been pretty clear that Gang Token is coming out Q3. So I think those are still undervalued relative to what they should be worth.
Yeah, man. Everyone in NRN's real big gutter fans, because we were all fans of the gutter anyway, but then they had that blowout party in Miami, Art Basel, and man, that just solidified it. And then of course that new roadmap, the team, the art, we're all just big fans. So yeah, that's an easy hold. I don't have a set, but I got my dog and my rat. So
Okay, there you go. I think some exposure to it is going to be beneficial as we move into Q3 of this year, for
Oh
sure.
yeah, yeah, and dude, like they have so much in that roadmap, like so many
Yeah,
nuggets. So it's like, and they're not just sitting on their hands. Like they're definitely working. So shout out to Gutter, shout out to Dan.
100%. Yeah, I remember when that launched, and like there were the issues with it launching initially. Like people got in early because there's something wrong with the contract, and there was just all of this like bad sentiment around it from the jump. And they've kept grinding though. Like people have been in that from day one, and they are like you're going to be hard pressed to find a more loyal community than that one.
It's super true, especially on Twitter. They run very deep. So do the SEALs. Shout out to the SEALs. Um, but yeah, man.
Shout out also to Spindrift. If you guys
There you
want to
go.
sponsor, if you want to sponsor our show, I will take. You can pay me in Spindrift.
You're not drinking any pilk over there?
No, I'm not.
But
Yeah,
man.
I got a couple seals. I don't know, man. We're actually gonna have one of the team members from Seals next week join us because I want to understand Pixelverse and all this a little bit more. And they put out their like huge document around it. I'm like, I'm not gonna read all that. Let's just like do a little interview here and we can talk about it.
I mean, dude, that's Wob and that whole team, man. Dude, I don't know if that dude sleeps. He works his ass off. That's someone who's easy to put your money behind. So
I'm not convinced that Wob or Camel are just one person. I have to think that they're like just the amount of time that they're on Twitter and how quickly they interact. Like
it's probably 10 people for as much interaction they have. Yeah.
Yeah. That's, you bet on teams, you bet on communities, and like love them or hate them. Like Camel, I remember at first drove me crazy. And then I was just like, he's just fucking around. Like this guy's pretty funny.
Well, that's the other thing. It's like, God, people like, I know it's hard to tell tone on Twitter, but like, man, the sarcasm that goes over people's heads and just like, I don't even bother responding to a lot of shit. Like that kind of stuff just it's just funny. But yeah, man, to go back to like goblins and stuff with the seals, it's all about that Twitter interaction, the memes. They Twitter very well. So yeah, man, memes run the world in the internet. So
and
just the way it is.
The communities that can stay engaged and keep each other laughing and enjoying, the interactions during the hard times. Like if you go into I spend like zero time in Discord, so I'm basing everything off of Twitter. But when you see some projects like the members of the community just like bitching about the floor, whereas with seals, like they believe in it long term, they're not super concerned about the floor right now, so they're just all fucking around on Twitter and making ARF noises and doing memes and shit. Like those are the projects that are going to last the longest, in my opinion, who are going to like come out of this bear market stronger, because a lot of projects aren't going to make it, but the ones who can have fun and people can get some enjoyment out of it are.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, because we at NRN we were buying seals at like 0.03, like when they were basically nothing. I ended up selling at like 0.4, and then like a few months later had to buy back in because yeah, man, they were just too rampant on Twitter. It's just too much.
The vibes, man. You gotta bet on the vibes and the memes.
It's true. It really is.
Imagine explaining that in an investing class or something. Like, so what made you buy this? The vibes and the memes are great.
All you got to show him is shout out to Degentraland. What he applied for that meme lord position.
Yeah, at A16Z. Is that who that was?
These are real positions. Okay, they don't hire meme lords for nothing. That's all I'm saying.
I'm curious how much that job pays. It's probably a decent salary. Like, I'm not cut out for it. I'm not funny enough for that. But some of these guys on Twitter, I'm sure, could clean up, with a position like that. Like I know Thread Guy, he's now the director of vibes for Jenkins. Congrats to him. Like that's pretty great. And some of these other people, they're clever and they work their asses off and they know how to interact on Twitter. Like you can legit turn that into a profession now.
It's so true, man. There's so many opportunities out there with, projects. You could do your own project, but yeah, man, if you're clever, a good person, and you're nice, hopefully most of the time good things will happen to you. So
yeah, I agree with you there. All right, man. I think that is a great place for us to wrap it up today. I'm sure we could keep talking for another hour or so, but
dude, that went fast, man.
Yeah, that was a very fast, like almost hour. Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Everyone, check out Nate at NRN over at the Non-Refungible Network. Please come back and watch our shows again in the future. Like, subscribe. trying to put out as much quality content as we can, and head over to FLOLiO.com. Once again, trying to put out a ton of free education and tools for, NFT collectors over there. So Nate, I really appreciate your time today. Have a great time at Ape Fest. I look forward to seeing plenty of pictures, and hopefully the next one, you and I can get together, grab a beer or something.
Oh, yeah.
For Nate, for the team at FLOLiO, I am Jeremy. Everyone have a great Memorial Day weekend. Stay safe, and we will see you next time.
Later
Everybody.
See ya.